welcome to Pink Salt Shed TV. It's Friday the 16th of April. It's not too bad out there. We're feeling springy still. I hope you're not cold wherever you are. Now, I can't believe, I've been out and about this morning. I've been like a real busy bee this morning, and it's not that normal. Normally I'm sort of homebound, but I've been out and about, and I was thinking this morning that I can't believe how quickly the year's going already. Time is flying by. Now, I don't know whether it's because I'm 46 and everything just seems a little bit sort of moving on very, very quickly to the next birthday, to the next birthday, to the next birthday. But I was thinking, all the kids, poor things, they spend so much of their time thinking, you know, I wish I was older, I wish this was coming, I wish that was coming, like Easter holidays, half term, summer holidays, Christmas. They've always got something to be wishing and whiling their time away with, but it never goes quickly enough for them. Anyhow, that's enough of that. Right, so this morning we're talking to Pete and Emma Ledbury. Pete and Emma Ledbury, they live at Butlers Road Farm, up the road, about a mile away, and they run North Cotswolds Dairy. Now, North Cotswolds Dairy is probably something heard in many homes around the local area because, of course, they're open to the public, insofar as a couple of years ago they set up a vending machine there to sell cow juice and other cow products, cheese, butter, that kind of thing, and local produce from other local producers. Now, of course, their main business is dairy farm, the herd of cows, herd of Markbury cows, and they've been there for generations. So it's certainly something they know exactly what they're doing with day in, day out. So we're talking to them today about what it is to be on the farm. What's life like on the farm with not just their family of 5 and their little doggles and their little chickens and those sorts of things, but the massive, huge cows that they've got in the barn next door. Now, I don't know whether many of you know what it's like to stand up close to a cow, but they are massive. Absolutely massive, and they've got loads of them. In fact, fun fact I learned the other day, I was listening to the radio, and apparently for it is illegal to be in charge of cows whilst you are drunk. What do you know? I suppose that's because they're so massive, and actually you probably could die if you fell over. That's it, you know, squash, game over. But I didn't realise that that's the only farm animal that if you're in charge of them whilst you're drunk, it's an illegal act. So, you know, better be careful, Pete and Emma, on the beers on a Friday evening. Right, we are joining them shortly. In fact, we'll join them now because we want to chat with them about all things dairy farming. So their kind of routine, the cows' routine, do they name them all? And this is something I think you need to go and grab the kids from various 4 corners of the house, still out in their bed maybe, and get them to come and listen to what it is Pete and Emma have got to say. Good morning.
Morning.
How you doing? We can see you both. We can see you and the great outdoors. You spend most of your life outdoors, actually. I hope you've got a coffee and that, you know, you can give us half an hour before you have to go and shoot off to do something else. How are you both?
Yeah, all good. Thank you. Yeah, very well.
Good.
Is that a police car I can hear?
Yeah. Well, what have you got in your drink? Have you got vodka in it?
Just coffee. Just coffee. Definitely not drunk in charge of a cow. No.
Thanks so much for joining us this morning. It's one of those things that, you know, we all drive around. Well, many of us do in the countryside, drive around and we see cows here, there and everywhere. Now, what we don't do is know what it's like behind the scenes. So let's take a typical day to start with, I suppose. Tell us what it is that you would do on a typical day being dairy farmers.
Up early, I suppose. Not too early. We're only milk sort of 70 in milk at the minute, so we're not huge. So we don't start at silly o'clock in the morning. Sort of some dairy farmers start at 3 in the morning and be up half the night with their cows. We start. So the alarm goes off at 6:30, and I'll be milking by 7. Yeah. Basically. So that's me. I'm up and out the door, gone. Leave you with the children to sort out, and I'll do the milking, and then I think you feed some calves and the chickens and things like that, whilst I'm still milking, which finishes at 9, half past 9, something like that.
Who gets the best deal of that then? You going off milking, or Emma having to deal with calves and kids?
Yeah, and that's only on a morning when I don't pasteurise, because obviously if I'm out there bottling or pasteurise, I'm out before he is even awake.
Some mornings, yes.
Got you.
It varies. It all depends how busy.
It depends on the weather.
Yeah.
It depends on the time of year. Yeah, it depends if it varies from day to day as to who's out earliest.
So even though you do the same job day in day out, each day can vary slightly. Apart from, I would imagine, the cows and when you do the milking. Is there a routine to your day that you pretty much, do the cows like routines? You pretty much work to that every day.
Yeah. You've got milking is a set time, really.
Yeah.
Got to do that the same time every day, because else they'll be wondering what's going on. This is not right. I should be milked.
Well, so, they go there automatically.
Yeah, they'll be stood at the gate if I'm late. Definitely.
Oh, okay. So do they sleep in the field overnight, or do they sleep in the barn overnight?
No, so luckily it's been a dry. It hasn't been a warm spring, but it's been a dry spring. So ground conditions are good for them to be out. Although the grass isn't growing as much as I'd like, so they're still being in the shed.
Yeah.
But they're out day and night at the moment, which is great. Takes the pressure off. The workload is eased because they're out in the fields. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how do you?
So then they'll be back in at night around October.
Yeah.
When it becomes too cold or too wet, then.
So proper now. It's like outdoor living girls. So you say that they come down to you when they know that it's ready to be milked. So you don't have to round them up then. There's no sort of getting them together.
Well, there'll be some that will need fetching, but most will be stood at the gate. When I go out, open the gate, they'll come in. But I'll walk round them. I'll walk round them just to bring any stragglers in.
Yeah.
You never know what you might find.
Exactly. There might be one in the corner not well, so you've got to go and check on everything. Yeah.
So how many do you have?
So there are 77 milking cows.
Yeah.
But then we rear all of our replacements. So that any heifer calf, they'll be reared to calve in at 2 years old to join the herd as a milking cow, basically.
And how many of those?
There's 133, I think, cattle on the farm.
Yeah, so that goes from 2 days old or a day old right up until.
But that is including beef and bull calves, which they say are what would they call? I don't know. What's the word? I'm trying to think of the word. But they are reared for beef. Basically, they're not pushed to one side. So we rear everything.
Yeah,
basically.
There's no way.
So
that's nice actually, because that means then that the mother has her children with her for longer.
Not with her, because we rear them in a separate shed.
Okay.
Because if we left the calf on the cow, the calf would take most of the milk, basically. So we want the milk to be sold. It is a business.
Yes, absolutely.
So we are milking cows to sell the milk. Basically.
Yes, absolutely.
But all we look after all the calves as well as they all get looked after the same.
Yes.
So,
well, I think that's lovely. That is really nice, and sort of they can all stay together for a bit, and it just feels a nicer environment for them to be in, rather than the separation, the anxiety, and the heartache that these poor animals can go through. So wow, you've got absolutely loads. And do they get milked?
Well, we're quite small. We're what would be classed as a small dairy.
Certainly.
Okay.
Majority are sort of 200 to 800 cows.
But there's
still a few small
cows.
There's still a few small family farms, but the majority are 200 plus now, just because financially, or it has to be viable. And if you're a small farm, and it is
economy. No, what is it?
Economy of scale.
Economy of scale is that what they call it? But
absolutely.
I don't know. I don't think that big is always better. I don't think that's quite how it should be, really. But
I suppose.
But the milk price has dictated that herds have got bigger, basically.
Yes, got you. Okay, so yes, they need to. Yeah, the more you provide, the more you can make. It is economies of scale. That is business.
And the cheaper you can produce it.
Yeah. So your costs come down because you're spreading the costs over more animals, I suppose.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, of course.
But I don't think that's why we've put the pasteuriser in, to sell our own at the farm gate, so we can make the margin that way.
You can make it up. Yeah, and tell us about the vending side of things, because you set it up a couple of years ago now. And whenever I'm up there, there's always a queue. I mean, there's a queue at the moment, but otherwise they'd all be milling around the same room together. But I believe it's gone, or it's going really well. Would that be right?
Yeah, we're more than happy with the way it's gone.
Yeah.
We thought it was a leap of faith, not really knowing if it would work or not. But we're overwhelmed, really. It's been brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous. And you don't just sell your own, I mean, you sell your milks, and you've got whole milk, semi-skimmed and skim milk now, haven't you? Cream, butters, and you bring other local producers in for other bits and bobs that you stick in the fridges, and people can sell from there. Ice creams as well.
Which are convenient for people, I suppose, and having a few other things there, it allows them sort of eggs and milk. It's sort of the staple thing. And people come for it, so
they do. It's and actually, what's quite nice is that being about a mile away out of the village, you can walk there. It's not too far. Fabulous on a gorgeous day. You can cycle there. Many families actually cycle up to you, or you can just nip by in the car on your way to and from wherever you're going. But it's really very accessible. But at least you don't have people on your doorstep morning, noon and night. It's generally in the day. Is it from 8 in the morning till 8 in the evening?
Yeah, the hours are pretty...
We're a bit flexible.
We're flexible.
It's usually open at about 7 o'clock in the morning, but sometimes it's a little later if I'm refilling it. And then sort of this time of year, it's still, you could still come and get milk at 10 o'clock at night.
If it's daylight and the gate's open, come and get it.
Okay. Oh, that's good. If the gate's open, all in. So exactly. How do you work so going back to the cows, and whether it's vending or whether it's actually for the company that you produce for, which is Muller, by the way, it's Muller. What's the process? So the cows get milked, and then does the milk go into one big place, and then do you pasteurize it from there?
So we've got a big bulk tank, milking parlour, and then a dairy room with a big circular bulk tank, which brings the temperature down to 4 degrees basically. Within half an hour of the cows being milked, it needs to be at 4 degrees really.
Right.
And then the pasteurising room is
50 metres?
A bit more, 100 metres away, I suppose. So we've got a little mobile tank that I pull behind our little quad bike. So we pump the milk from the big bulk tank, which Muller collect from. So we take whatever milk we want out of that into our mobile tank, bring that to the pasteuriser, and it plugs straight into the pasteuriser, which pasteurises it, then straight into a storage tank where it's cooled again, basically.
Okay. So what is the process of pasteurising then? I believe it's heating it to a certain temperature and then cooling it down again. Is that right?
That's it. I'll let Emma explain.
So we've got what they call an inline pasteuriser. So the milk comes into a little holding tank and then is pumped past the hot water that is also contained in the tank. So it works a little bit like a kettle. As the milk passes the element, it gets up to 72 degrees. It's held there for about 5 seconds, and then as it pumps round, it then passes through a different pipe, the cold milk coming in, so it starts to cool it before it leaves the pasteuriser. So then so within about the whole process, within about 10 seconds, I've got a litre or 5 litres of sellable pasteurised milk that is chilled back down to from going up to 72 degrees back down to 4 degrees within about 30 seconds. So it's a really quick system. It's really old equipment. It comes from we bought it secondhand. It's from the 60s when a lot of farms were doing it anyway, the local milkman and the milk rounds. But it's a really simple piece of equipment that very noisy birds.
I can
very simple piece of equipment that's easy to maintain.
Well, I mean, it's like, you know, if it works, it works, and actually, it does the trick. I doubt that there's any quicker process that you could use to pasteurize it. So it doesn't matter whether it's stuff you bought last week or 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Tell us what is it that pasteurizing does to the milk?
So the pasteurizing, it kills any nasty bugs. So obviously, coming direct from animals and on a farm, there's lots of bacteria and muck. There's a risk of unpasteurized milk can have listeria and E. coli and other nasty bugs. So the pasteurizing process kills that. So it ensures that you've got a clean, safe product to drink, really.
Okay.
Or cook with. Yeah.
Yeah. And we legally need to pasteurize to sell. You can sell raw milk.
Yes.
But you can, but you have to jump through more hoops and be tested more regularly.
Yeah, you have to do day testing.
But we have a problem though in this area with TB.
Right.
So we are down with TB. We've lost cows with TB. So legally, you cannot sell raw milk.
Yeah.
From a TB, we are classed as TB infected, TB infected herd. Which is a shame. It's a bit of a nightmare. So legally, we cannot sell raw milk, and it has to be pasteurised. So that was why we put the pasteuriser in, and that's where we are.
But there's no benefit to having raw milk, though, is there? There's no benefit of raw milk.
Some people claim that it's because it's not. You've not messed with it at all. It's better for you. But to be honest, I think
if we
from a safety point of view, pasteurizing is the most. I don't know. It's easy and it's basic. Most any food, like processed food, is pasteurized. So you know, like a jam or
anything that's. But where we differ from supermarket milk is that we just pasteurize. So where the supermarket milk, they homogenize and they standardize it. So they would strip out all the fat and then they re-add it so that even your whole milk is at a standard 3.5% or whatever, where ours will fluctuate. So at the moment it's probably
dropped a bit since they've gone to grass.
Yeah, so ours is normally a little bit higher, about 4%. Sometimes it can be near 5%.
Yeah.
Nice, creamy.
So it's probably not so healthy from a fat point of view, but I don't know. It's a good fat.
But then I think it's because it's not standardised and bashed about so much.
It's not homogenised, which is
a lot of people find that they have been able to drink our milk where they haven't been able to drink supermarket milk because the fats, the body can identify them.
Yeah.
And work out which ones to remove. Yes, rather than identifying the whole product as evil, it can find the right fat. So
well, that's right. So the milk that you've got has got its own fat. It's very natural product, and our bodies know how to process that. So the fat that's taken out and then by homogenizing it added back in again, it's not an artificial fat, but it's not the natural fat that was in the product to start with. So therefore,
it's just milk. It's been bashed around with and and the milk we sell is only our milk, so it's where the milk from the tanker gets mixed in with a dozen other farms. You get the variations in product as well through the bulk tank, the milk tanker. So
my mum bought a bottle of Morrison's whole milk the other day, and I couldn't drink it.
The difference to you must be night and day.
Completely different.
Yes.
Yeah, it is night and day. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose how people can visually tell if something has been homogenized or not is it the cream settles on the top if it's unhomogenized.
That's it.
Yeah, you see, and that's what you dip down the little foil cap. This is in like yesteryear, and then you take that off. And I would always try and get the cream first on the crunching up cornflakes.
You can't do that with a supermarket bottle.
No,
I'm afraid
you can't. And I think it's stripped away that lovely feeling of local, actually. And I think that's such a shame. And it's just like bulk produced, mass produced. You're dictated to. This is my belief anyway, that you're dictated to what you've got to accommodate as far as the brand you sell to tell you what they want, rather than rather than it being more of a working together thing.
It's difficult. I don't know. There are so many contracts. Muller have different contracts with different farms. Some will be on a supermarket contract, so that supermarket will tell that group of farmers what they want.
Yep.
So they may even have to tell them their costs of production, which seems daft to me.
Well, some of the supermarkets dictate what bull semen they can use when they AI their cattle, because they have set ones that they want, because they might have is it Waitrose that got a policy that they want polled bulls, so that there isn't the dehorning process.
There's all sorts of
and then that impacts on, because
it's all right, but they're still paying a low price, in my opinion. It's all right. They're telling you what to do, but not really paying the true.
Well, and what did we say the other day? The price that we're getting at the moment from Muller and most other Arla and other, they're very surprised. So it's not just one Muller that is paying.
No.
It's that within the country there's a big issue. And I think about 26 pence a litre. 27.
No, we have touched 28. But it's still.
But it's still what people were getting in the 80s. Where our fuel costs.
All our costs have gone.
Our feed costs have triple what they were in the 80s. And you're to purchase land or whatever is, that's probably that's not even worth thinking about. But so those costs have gone up, but yet your actual cost that you're getting for your milk hasn't. I mean, there's been some good years where we say good, where we got nearly 30p. That was a good year. Or did get 30p.
I don't know.
But then all your other costs go up. So
it's still a struggle. It's still a struggle.
Yeah, there was. Do you remember on TV? I think years ago, there was a documentary about dairy farming and how Tesco's were literally thumb screwing down the dairy farmers and I think some of them were making not even a pence per litre on what it is.
I think if we looked at our figures without the vending machine, we'd probably we would be.
I don't know. But Tesco see they want to know the farm's costs of production, but by the farmer telling them what their costs of production are, they know what they can pay that farmer. It sort of doesn't. It shouldn't be like that, really.
Well, we can't go to the grain supplier and say, provide us with your costings and we'll tell you what we'll pay you. Same when you go and buy the fuel, isn't it, in your car? You can't go to them and say, hang on, you're making X
you're
profit
making
on
too
this.
much money on that. I don't know.
Cut your price. Where dairy, milk seems to be the only industry.
Well, it's a loss leader in Tesco's, isn't
it? Whether that's to blame or whether, it just seems it's all back to front, and it just seems.
So we're selling it ourselves from the farm gate as well. That's what we thought.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think when it if business is business, then your business, you should be able to run it how you want to run it. Okay, rules, regulations, withstanding, but you should be able to say, well, this is how much we can sell it to you for, rather than them saying to you, this is how much I'm going to buy it from you at. Because you're operating a business as well, but with your hands tied behind your back.
We are a bit, we are. That's the main reason for doing what we've done.
And we don't mind that. We're very happy to jump through hoops with the welfare standards and all that side of it. We want to be seen as a farm with happy cows.
You've got accreditation of happy cows, haven't you? I think you've been given the accreditation of happy cows, and I think that's marvelous. Especially because you've got those scratching posts in your barns, haven't you? The rotating bottle brush things. That
you cut out a bit there.
You've got the rotating
the cow
brush type of things that the cows, the scratch posts.
They do.
That's amazing. Those. Well, I bet they would scratch our skin if we were to stand near one. In fact, it reminds me of, that film, The Secret Life of Pets, where they've got the sausage dog underneath the food mixer. It whirls around and then the sausage falls off of the worktop. I can imagine the same delightful feeling the cow gets from having that scratch. Because how on earth are they going to do it otherwise?
They do. They love it. Yeah. It is, but it is a bit harsh. I have tried it on my back, but it's a bit harsh for human skin, I think.
Like a sign saying wet paint. I bet you're the one that goes and touches it just to make sure.
Yeah, you go to the zoo with him. Like to the safari park, and it says do the windows up, and he's like, no,
I don't.
Or don't touch the penguins. And you're like, yeah, go on, bite me. Yeah, it's really naughty.
It's like, but there's a rule, but then it's there to be broken, isn't it? So
although lion enclosure is not great.
Well, no, I wouldn't do that then. So tell us, all of your 100 and something odd cows, girl or boy, do they all have names?
Yeah, so we're a pedigree herd.
Yes.
They go back to my grandfather, basically, the herd of cows. So yeah, everything's registered. So when we register a cow, it basically keeps its mother's name. So the family name carries on down the line.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, okay.
So we've got lots of Hayes.
Yeah. So there's names in there. There's cows with the same name because they're family cows. So
so Madcap is one of the oldest names, isn't it?
Madcaps.
Madcap are my favourite. I think they were called Madcap because they were a bit wild
in
so they're a bit mad in the head. So
bit bonkers.
So that's my favourite name.
But they're not now.
Kind of like, no, they're not now.
We've bred them. We've bred cows now to be quiet and placid, and you can walk through them and they won't run away. And
I quite like that one because it tells a story. The Madcap ones, and we've got some Hazels and some Ednas.
Yeah, Ednas are old. And Doras.
My grandmother was called Edna.
Yeah, so, and Ethels. What else is there?
Well, and Emma's, which I didn't take. I didn't we'd been together a little while, and he called some. We
must have brought a cow in to the herd that we hadn't been named, so it got named Emma.
So it got called Emma, and I sort of thought, is that a nice thing or a?
Yeah, of course it is.
Or a bad thing?
Yes, of course it is.
Now you've got.
But does he care for that Emma better than he cares for you?
He does.
Don't say that. No.
And then and we've obviously now got an Edith because we had a.
So there's an Edith after our daughter. I think there's an Alice and there's a Nell
after our nieces.
Because we have had to buy in cows occasionally, so they get named. So, And so that's how the naming works.
Are your children? Do they help out on the farm? I suppose now they're getting a bit older, they probably might do.
Yeah.
Well, George was the eldest, who is nearly 15, was rearing calves. Because suddenly, when the pasteurising is busy, I don't have time to really feed the calves in the evening, or not as well as I'd like to. So we gave him, especially in lockdown, we were like, well, we've got to have a reason to get out of bed and
a bit of pocket money.
And a bit of pocket money. So he became calf rearer, and he's rubbish.
But he's a teenager, so that's.
He's a teenager. Okay, yes. Half-hearted, as long as they get fed fine, but there's no nurturing. There's just like, there you go, that's your lot, off you pop now.
You just got to keep an eye on what he's done. Keep an eye on it,
and go out and bed them up a bit better.
He tries.
He will get there. He'll, it's one of those things that they've got to learn, haven't they? Just how what you want them to do. So his idea of bedding something up, he'll throw a bit of straw in. Where I'm like, well, would you sit in it? Do you want to sit in it? Would you drink water out of that bucket? And if not, you need to do it better. So they'll get there. And
the middle, Edith's more ponies. Well, that's Anu, I suppose. More
well, it's just to get off the farm.
Yeah. But then I
the other side of the house, you mean?
Yeah. And Isaac's quite keen, isn't he?
Yeah,
he likes going off out in the tractors. Yeah. And I think. He likes being outside. Out of the three of them, he is the one that.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Will find a reason to be outside because he just doesn't like being indoors.
It sounds as though he's the one that will carry on after you then.
Who knows?
They might.
We're not forcing it on them.
No, and the fact
if they want to. If they don't, they can do something else.
And because we're tenant farmers, so we don't own the farm.
Yeah.
We haven't got that.
There's no succession on the tenancy.
There's no guarantee that we'll have a farm when they're old enough to, if they want to go into farming. I mean, we'll obviously support them and try and find them a tenancy if that's what they want to do. But it's not like we own it and one of them has to take it on, because actually in 7 years' time, our tenancy's up. We don't know where we'll be. We might be able to renew it, or they might bring new tenants in and enable another family to have the farm. So
got you. Okay.
So it's important that they make sure that they work hard at school and have those other, don't just sit back and think that they're gonna. Farm,
we're not forcing them to farm.
No, but if they enjoy it, then they enjoy it, and that's actually really what is important. Is that
and there'll be ways of ensuring they can still farm if they want to.
It gives them an idea of what they could do actually, which broadens their horizons. Absolutely.
Well, it gives them lots of other skills, so they'll be able to manage budgets, and they'll know about crop rotation and wildlife and all those other things that actually might, and changing tires and mending tractors and all those other things that might send them off in a different direction, but they will have learnt it at home.
The normal standard family doesn't have that going on, so you're certainly broadening their horizons in more than just one way. Absolutely. Tell me, actually, a few people have emailed in questions, so I'm going to put a few questions to you. If you're walking through a field of cows, and let's just say, first instance, you have your dog with you, dog is on lead. If the cows start being interested and you get a little bit scared, should you
which they probably will.
Off? Say again?
Yeah, if it all depends on, because cows are inquisitive, so and they will.
And dairy cows are very different from beef cows.
Yeah, they
because dairy cows are handled every day. So although they'll be inquisitive,
but you don't know. They won't know that.
Yeah, but when you walk into a field, you won't know.
I would say let the dog go.
Yeah, always let the dog go, because
the dog will get away. The dog's quicker than a cow.
Let the dog go. I'm writing that down because is it that the cows would run after the dog and not the human?
Not always.
But if a cow's got a calf, it might think the dog's a threat to the calf, and it will go for the dog.
Okay.
But if you're holding a dog, it will get you as well. So but the dog will be quicker than the cow, so let the dog go.
Let the dog go, and then ensure that you get yourself over the gate and away from them if they are becoming, if they're running at you.
Angled up in the barbed wire fence.
It's really tricky because majority of them will probably run up to you and stop, but you don't want to take that risk that they don't stop.
Well, no, because they're massive.
It's not nice getting caught by a cow. I've had it happen myself.
They are like that, they will. They'll follow you. They'll get close to behind you.
They'll assume you've got food, and that's why they run over, because they're often fed in the field.
Possibly.
But it does hurt when you get crushed. So
you've had a run in with a cow.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it. Let the dog go. Yeah.
Let the dog go. Let the dog go. But if you don't have a dog, should you run, or will they then get a trot on?
Well,
I don't know.
I'm not very quick at running, so I would.
whatever a cow will a cow will beat you in a race.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd say don't run.
Yeah, save your energy. Don't bother.
Yeah, and I would think, are they showing a lot of interest in me? If so, do I really need to be walking through this field? Is it worth getting in a situation where I'm being chased? If not, let's just hop out and walk along the road instead. It's as lovely as it is to be out in the field walking with them. They are,
Well, I don't know.
Some will ignore you. You've got to.
A footpath's a footpath, so it's got to be. You've got to let people go on a footpath. So,
but then it should
the farmer probably should not put animals
on
a field with a footpath. If they know those animals are boisterous or slightly headstrong, they shouldn't be there. I would say, or they should fence the path off.
Fence it off. So
got you.
Because we've got to share the countryside. I'm all up for that. Definitely.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Right, that anybody is allowed anywhere.
Cut off.
Sorry, lost it a little bit there. So tell me.
Sorry, we lost you.
We did. I had another question for you actually. Oh God, what was it? Oh God, I can't remember what it was now. Oh yes, I know what it is. I've got written down here. Somebody's asked, do the cows have different personalities? I mean, I suppose like us humans do. But can you tell which ones are a bit of a tinker or a bit of a, greedy monster? Yeah,
they're all individual, definitely. And sometimes it can be a family trait because I've got a well, I shouldn't have a favourite, but I probably
Mabel. He loves Mabel more than me.
Probably have got a favourite called Mabel.
Well, if he starts calling you Mabel, then give him a little nudge.
Yeah. So yeah, and they seem very friendly. So you can go and you can put your arm around it and give it a scratch, and it loves it. Other cows, they'll walk away. They won't let you near them.
No, and there's certain cows. Some cows get quite stressed if you have to isolate them briefly to treat the feet or whatever. And they get very stressed, and you try and make sure they've got somebody with them, or a cow with them.
Yeah, they're all individual.
They're all very different, and you get to know them. And obviously, there's a hierarchy as well. When you see them headbutting in the fields, there's always a matriarch. It's them finding their space. So
they will fight. They fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lead. There is a leader.
They'll fight over the best patch of grass, whatever. It's they're quite funny to watch.
Yeah. I bet they are actually. Yeah, I mean, most of the time I'm driving past a field of cows, but if you take time to watch what they're doing, in fact, sometimes you see one cow on top of another cow. Why would they do that?
They're in season.
They're in season. They're wanting to explore. Yeah.
They're feeling a bit.
But yeah, they don't care. They just. All the girls.
Yeah. Well, they'll come in season every 21 days, basically. If they're not in calf, they're ready to breed. Every 21 days, she'll have a heat.
Yeah.
Where you've got a window of 2 days to get her pregnant, and then she'll have a calf in 9 months' time, and that's how the cycle goes. Yeah.
So how many? So would you? So cow gets pregnant. Well, heifer gets pregnant. Then as calf becomes cow. Then how long do you give them before you would then get them pregnant again?
A cow, a herd in the wild, a cow or a bovine would have a calf every year. Once a year, it'll have a calf.
Yeah.
So she'll calve, and then she'll have 3 months empty without a calf, and then
sometimes less,
sometimes a bit longer.
Sometimes in Pete's situation, sometimes some of them are quite a lot longer.
Well, I try. We don't force our cows. Yeah. Some herds of cows block calves, so they'll calve for the spring grass, basically, which is your cheapest form of food on the farm.
Yeah.
So they'll want to calve every cow within a 12-week block, basically, in the spring.
Yeah. Right. And if they don't get in calf within that period, then they're gone. They're gone,
really,
because it has to work in their system. Where we calve all year round.
Yeah,
that wasn't.
And Pete has his favourites, who some of them have gone over a year without calving. He says that they're giving a lot of milk, but they often are. But sometimes it's because they've got Mabel on their ear tag.
Do they?
I don't know.
So when the cow has had the calf, so
yeah,
do you?
Say again.
So the cow. How do you then constantly milk the cow? Is there the ability to just keep the milk going?
So no. So she'll milk until 2 months before calving.
Okay. Oh, you've frozen. Are you going to come back? Are you going to come back? Please come back. We've got more to ask you. Oh, well, I'm going to have to fill in now, aren't I? I'm going to have to fill in. Right, okay, so we've got some other questions here, which I'll ask when they come back. So are the cows sort of indoors or outdoors for the most of the time? Well, actually, it would appear that most of them are now outdoors constantly. Oh, they've gone. Oh, come back. We'll get them to come back in a minute. They'll dial in on the same link, and then we'll chat some more to them. But what I want to know really is, are they going to carry on doing the vending thing? Is that something that is going to start being the majority of their business? And other products that they might introduce, and maybe even I'm wondering if they wouldn't mind putting some of the calves out, and maybe the public then actually feeding them. Hang on a tickle, they're back. Hello, you are back.
Are we there?
You're back.
Yeah, you're back. Yes, oh my goodness, I had a bit of filling in then. Whew.
They were getting bored of me going on.
Maybe. Just automatically cut off. Pete's talking. Let's cut off.
Too much.
So a couple more questions for you. So things like, with regards to the sort of the new venture, or the relatively new venture, the vending machine and the shop that you've got, are you going to be expanding that? Because to me, that seems really very successful. Is it a way that you can go down a different route and expand in that?
It's a bit tricky to know where to go next with it, because there's something quite nice, especially here nice and quaint about
being small.
It being small, and you pop in here and you can see a few calves, and it's you've got your goodies in the shop, and I've got no plans to open like a big farm shop.
No.
Whether
I think we need to do butter. Our own. I'd like to do our own butter.
That was yummy.
And a clotted cream, I think.
We've got we want to make more products, but it's just trying to find the time.
Absolutely.
So that's the plan, is to have a few more products, and it would be quite nice to maybe have another vending machine somewhere else, but obviously that then comes with issues.
What about people meeting the animals? Maybe feeding a calf, that kind of thing. That's something, because that would
it's not we're a working farm, and it's
tricky getting the balance right.
I think we need to upgrade our calf facilities.
We need to throw some money at it, but obviously then, because we're tenant farmers, it puts you in you can't go and put a building up. You have to get landlord permission and various other things. So things take a bit longer to try.
But I'd like to show people the milking parlour and things like that, but I can't see how.
You can't. It's trying to work out how to get them. We have done. I've had a few school visits here where you've kept a few cows back, and the children have come in and seen the cows being milked, and then they've gone and collected some eggs, and they've walked around the farm, and I've shown
the layout doesn't work. You couldn't do that every day.
No,
you need to change the layout, which is a bit difficult, I think.
And then we've talked about open farm Sundays and things like that, but then the problem is it's just the unknown scale of things, isn't it? You don't know. You don't know how many people you get here. You need some
I'd rather
control.
It wasn't a one-off and just have it.
A
part of it as an open educational.
You see, I think that would be great, but then you've got to have somebody there all the time, haven't you? Because if you've got people coming in, well, you don't know if you're going to have a gap of 2 hours, or you've got people coming in every 10 minutes. It would be very difficult to actually work that. Unless I suppose you had booking times where people could book in, and maybe you've got 2 hours in an afternoon. Please let us know if you're coming along. But then you've got to put in the infrastructure and actually manage it as well, which is another thing to add to your already long list of things to do on a daily basis.
Time. There's not enough hours in a day.
No.
So.
Or just train the children up.
Well, maybe once the children are a bit older.
Give Edith
one day.
A project. Edith is 12, by the way. So yes, give Edith a project. Spreadsheets to fill out.
She wants to make ice cream. That's what she wants to do. She keeps saying, I want to make some recipes for ice cream, and I think, oh no. So that's what she would like to do. But
Rome wasn't built
marvelous. You could make your own ice creams. I've got 3 ice cream makers because I love making ice cream. Oscar likes mint choc chip. Evie likes strawberry. They both love Nutella ice cream, but you can't beat just a nice vanilla ice cream. And the milk you produce, God, it would just be heavenly. You could get her with a stripes on.
We've made some just, I think it was what they would call farmhouse, so it didn't have any. It was just cream and milk, and that was quite nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds delightful. Right now, I'm conscious that you've got so much to be doing that we could just sit here and just go and get another coffee, have some lunch together, that kind of thing. But you must be
there's calves to feed.
So there's loads of stuff that you've got to be doing, and people.
Say again.
People need to go and do their other things. You've got lots to do. So shall we? I reckon I would like to, you know, I'd love to do this again with you and actually come to the farm, be on location with you and set up something so we can walk around a bit and you can explain what it is you do here, you do there, meet some of the cows. And actually, you know, talk to them, give one a scratch, see what that rotating scratcher is actually like. But so thank you for today, Emma. I'll give you a call in a bit just to make sure you're all right and to say thank you, etc. But is there anything else you'd like to add? Do you think that there's other things that people need to know or would want to know about what it is that you do on a farm?
I think the vending machine ventures are getting popular now.
Yeah.
Up and down the country, I've got friends in Devon doing it, and
it's a good way to support your dairy farmer because you know the money is going straight to them.
Yeah.
And you can buy direct. You can see the standards of how those animals are being looked after.
Keep it local.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, you know, and it same goes with any food really. If you can try and source whatever you're trying to feed yourselves locally, then it's going right to the people that actually need it, rather than, you know, paying these big fat cats. You know, they're
multinational
big £1 million salaries. You know, it does make a difference. You know, to us. I think
it's made a huge difference. Really,
I think if we hadn't put the vending machine in, we probably I don't know if we would still be here now farming because you know our margins are so tight that it hasn't, you know, and we don't employ anybody. It's just the two of us and your dad now as well. But you know, and you know, so all that money goes back into the farm, back into improving the welfare standards for the cows, back into ensuring that the vets come whenever we need them, which isn't very often, fortunately, but you know it goes back where it needs to go rather than lining people that have probably never been on a farm's pocket.
Mr. Tesco's or
you know, so if everybody that is watching today can ensure that that's what they do for their food,
I don't just,
you know, there'll be some stuff
convenience is king to a lot of people, so that's fair enough, but if you can support local,
and being able to, you know, and if your children know, you know, there's so many children that I've taught before that have no idea what a chicken, you know, that bit of chicken that they pick up in the supermarket, they've no idea that it was a chicken and
it
came
was
from a
thing
farm
with feathers running around in the farm.
It's, you know, they might not like what they hear, you know, it might make them question whether they want to eat sausages or whatever, but actually if they then go to the farm and they see those animals being cared for and know that they've had a really lovely life, it hopefully
and some probably haven't had a lovely life, so try and make informed decisions, I suppose.
Go to your local farm and choose sensibly and educate the children. It's the only way forward really to, you know, we've had pet pigs and kids called them sausage pigs, and you know, and they learnt the whole process, and for a little while they were like, I don't want a sausage, but they still now eat sausages, but they know that they were reared and, you know, they were loved.
They looked after, had a good life. But that's the food chain. That's the thing. That's the food chain. You know, I mean, it's crucial, I think, that people are educated in where their produce comes from and how better to do that than seeing it locally.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Fab. No, thank you.
All good.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for your time. We're going to leave it there for you today. You can go off and do your thing. And I'll give you a call in a bit. But thanks so much. It's been lovely to talk to you. And you do find lots out by talking properly about subjects rather than researching it here and there. We're talking to the people that know. So thank you for your time.
No problem.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good rest of your day. See you. Bye. You know, it's lovely talking to Emma and Pete because, I mean, I know them because they're up the road. I don't know them that well. Pete, I certainly haven't met many times before. But one thing about living in a village, I suppose, and being privileged to live in a village, I suppose we choose where we want to live, or much of the time we choose where we want to live. I'm really lucky, or we're really lucky in a village to have the countryside all around us. And when, or at least over the last year, we can walk out of our front door and within 2 minutes, we're on the edge of a field somewhere down a little lane. And it's been fabulous to keep that sense of community going, and having the farm up the road in particular, because it's like supporting local businesses is really crucial. And that's because, you know, that is the main source of their income. I mean, you know, I do shop in a supermarket. I get my dishwasher tablets there. I get my detergents and those sorts of things. What I try and do for food, however, is buy more locally, because I know where it's come from. I know how it's looked after. Well, if it's an animal, I know how it's what it's kind of been fed, the quality of it. If you know the people that are producing these things, then you know the kind of honest product that it is as well. It doesn't have to be organic, but I suppose that's always a bit of a plus. But with having the farm up the road, it's been so lovely to walk up there. You see families that go up there, they go on their bikes, you know, they stop, they have an ice cream whilst they're getting some milk. And it really does bring that sense of community, and it's an education for the kids as well. And I think that's something that shouldn't be overlooked. So next time, I would love to be at the farm, showing you Gloria, showing you Ethel, showing you Edna and Edith and Emma and Mabel, all of the cows. I think that would be fabulous. So I'll try and set that up really soon for us. Okay, so you guys have a fabulous weekend. Now, I don't have a show on Monday. I've got a few computer bits and bobs been sorted out on Monday. But next Friday, we'll be talking to Anna Chalmers, who is the interior therapist. Now, what she does is she actually sort of looks at the home. So she's an interior designer. Actually, she started off as an occupational therapist. But what she does is she has a look at the indoor space in our home and helps us style it in a way that it brings that lovely calmness to us. So, for example, the bedroom is conducive to sleep. The sitting room is conducive to relaxation. The garden room has all things beautiful around us, so we can really get that lovely homey feeling whilst we're at home. So we'll be talking to her on Friday next week. Now, in the meantime, have a look at the website of North Cotswolds Dairy, northcotswoldsdairy.co.uk, and their Instagram as well, because that gives you an idea of how they look after the farm and how they look after the cows. It's North Cotswolds Dairy, at North Cotswolds Dairy. So have a look at that. But thank you for joining us today. I've had a great time chatting to everybody and finding out more than we would really know about dairy farming unless we asked. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.